Alright guys, this is a woods evaluations video, and we're coming to the home stretch here on these, so probably 1 or 2 to maybe 3 maximum videos left on that. Just depends on how fast I get to it. But over here is where I left off, and there's my oak tree that's growing like a sandwich. And I didn't show these two here in the video, but I have another oak tree here and another oak tree here and a black gum tree that is causing big problems. So I'm going to cut that black gum down, and that's really going to help this oak right here and this oak right here. So I'm going to help 2 trees out a whole lot by removing just this one tree. And there's another thing of note, that when you're doing woods improvements like this, whenever you remove competition away from an oak tree and allow it to grow, you're actually helping the entire tree. Even though, let's say you've got one side of the tree that doesn't have a limb on it, but by removing the competition, you're actually allowing the other side to increase nut production as well, because it's more direct light for the tree. It actually strengthens the tree a lot more, so you can gain extra nuts in the short term just by cutting it off. In the long term, you know, you're talking 5-10 years down the road, if the tree's one-sided, it will start producing sometime in that range. It just takes a while for it to limb back. All right, so let's go over here. We are coming to the corner of the property now where my other neighbor lives. And right here we have this one oak tree that's pretty close to a field edge right here, which is this one. And right beside it, of course, is a pine tree. This pine tree is dead, so there's really no point in leaving that tree standing. So it's blocking future limbs and trying to throw a little extra shade in here that doesn't need to be here. So this tree is going to be cut down. That's a simple fix. This is an ash tree right here, and you can cut those off and deer will eat those sprouts. Deer like ash trees. Here we have a really ugly poplar tree. The top of it is nearly dead, so that's another candidate to have cut down. And this oak tree right here can take the space. Now, I'm not completely freeing this tree up, but I definitely don't have permission to cut these bigger trees down like this poplar. But by removing this one and this one, I am still going to help this tree out. So even if I could just up the nut production 10 to 20% over what it used to be, I'll take it. All right, so on this end, I had already done, for those of you that's been with me 4 or 5 years, I have already done small improvements to this section. There was absolutely no greenery under here, zero, because it was shaded really dark. So now I have some greenery that's in here that didn't used to be here. Even though you can't see it right now, it's poison ivy vines. There's actually some honeysuckle and briars trying to grow back in here. Honeysuckle's on the low end to me as far as value to your deer, and I'd rather have something else besides honeysuckle growing in here. All right, so we're over here to a very tree crowded area. I have a nice straight white oak right here, and of course, like 95% of my oak trees, it's got a very small canopy. And if you don't realize this, trees that are in this situation actually don't live near as long as a tree that's more open. These trees are generally weaker, and diseases tend to wipe them out as they get older. So in this situation, I think just by removing this one pine tree right here on this side, I could really help that sunlight problem. It would get, because there's your sun, that would definitely open up a whole lot more direct light for this particular tree. On this end, I've got some red oaks over here, and right here's a buckaroo. completely missed it. Not bad. Probably one of our younger deer. If that had been Mr. Clean, he would have put more gouges than that in it, but that's one of our, probably our younger bucks doing that. Right here's our red oak, and you can see the original top died, and then it grew out this new sprout here. And it's actually growing in a pretty decent spot. It just needs a lot more space. So one thing I can do is possibly cut this pine down right here, that's right here, or if I had permission I would cut this bigger pine down, and that would really actually help both these trees. But I don't think that's going to happen based on the permissions that I have. So we'll move over here. I mean, there's not really much I can do for this tree except cut this maple down and remove a competing tree for nutrients. And besides, that will open that back up right here for deer to eat some sprouts right there. Right here's a twin white oak. Now, there are various types of white oaks. So I just classify everything as red or white. That's the simple thing to do for these videos. But there's like post oaks, there's white oak itself, there's other types, black oaks, red oaks, but most people classify it as red or white. So this is a white, and he's in the same issue as all my other oaks. He has a major problem, and this pine tree is a big problem for that particular tree. Same thing with this maple. It's too close and is reducing nutrition supplies to the tree. So any tree within the root range of this tree is actually stealing nutrients. Up here, and by the way, I'm also kind of shed hunting here as I do this video. Mr. Clean has dropped his antlers, and I'm trying to see if I can get lucky enough to find them. Right here, this is a big mess that can cause injuries. This was barbed wire that was dumped in here over 20 years ago, and it's just been left to rot here. I would like to be able to clean all this stuff out, because I've got a white oak right here, and deer cannot browse in here and collect acorns with all that barbed wire there. So I've actually got reduced browsing area there. And of course this white oak here is just flat out ugly anyway. And as far as what trees to keep, this is an oak tree to cut down, because that right there is just flat out ugly. Here we have, this is actually Indian ironwood. This is a native species in here. So I'm actually giving this a better grade. But you can see how deer have really destroyed Indian ironwood. I actually had no clue this was right here. I don't ever remember seeing it here, but it could have sprouted from bird seeds. Very easily could have, and that's great. So this is added greenery coming very soon. I've also got grapevines right here. In the past I cut a lot of those off to allow sprouts to occur, and what ended up happening was there were so many sprouts in here that the deer wiped them out, and it killed the vines. I got about 2 to 3 years out of it, and then the vine died, which that's fine, that's no big deal to me. But this vine here is just completely dead now, and that used to run all up that tree, and that's the big reason why it looks so ugly. Here we've got some more Indian ironwood here, and it's got the same results as the rest of it. It is destroyed. I highly recommend getting this stuff for your deer. This is a big attractant to deer, and this will give them something nice to eat on. So this side's actually getting a little higher grade. I mean, it's not like overwhelmingly changed, but this is better than zero. In here where I did other improvements, there was actually, you can see now the honeysuckle is already greening up. There's also blackberry briars laying entangled in there. Not much, but there is some. Let's see here. Over this way, there was another oak tree here somewhere, and I know it was here. Well, maybe not. Alright, maybe my memory's not working as well as it used to. We'll just keep on going here. We've got a lot of trees right here that are not helping deer. There's a lot of locusts here, sassafras, hickory trees, poplar trees. Right here's a dead maple snag I can cut down. So let me end the video here, and then I'm going to start the next part.